Crafting the 12 Days of Christmas. In 1975, I was a 10-year-old boy. In early December of that year, my head was filled with dreams and visions of the upcoming Christmas season. In my view, the holiday season brought so much warmth and joy to everyone. The joy was evident with the friendly gesture of simply saying Merry Christmas to someone, resulting in their bright eyes shining and sporting a wide smile. There are some Grinches and Scrooges, but then again, the world is not a perfect place. At this young age, I was very interested in crafts of every kind. I adored making Christmas decorations and homemade presents for those I held dear. I could dream up tons of ideas on my own, but often I got my inspiration from something special that my mother would give to me nearly each Christmas season. Almost each December, my mother would buy and give to me a holiday craft magazine that she picked up on one of her trips to Shawville, Quebec, or to Renfrew, Ontario. That particular year, she gifted me with the latest copy of McCall's Christmas Make It Ideas magazine. Oh, what joy! I thanked Mom and immediately opened this treasure to discover all possibilities inside. Luckily, in the background, someone was playing a Christmas album on our old record player. This established the right mood, and at that moment I felt very cheery and festive. The current melody tickling my ears was one of my favorites. It was the 12 Days of Christmas. I started to hum along, and lo and behold, as I flipped through my new magazine, the next page brightly displayed plans to cut and sew together a 12 Days of Christmas banner. I loved it. This banner was going to be my craft project this Christmas. There was, however, one tiny problem. I did not know how to sew. What did this boy of 10 years old do? Well, he consulted with the experts. I was very fortunate because both of my grandmothers, my mother and my aunts, were expert quilt makers, and those fine ladies sure knew how to sew. My mother, in fact, was a very talented seamstress. I have the fondest memories of my paternal grandmother cutting out beautiful quilt pieces selected from her bags of scrap fabric, patiently sewing each together into fantastic designs, then stretching out the finished quilt top onto a large wooden frame, and then sewing it all, quilting it all, by hand into intricate designs, one stitch at a time, until the whole quilt was completed. I retain vivid, happy memories of my mother sitting excitedly in front of her sewing machine, whizzing together yet another beautiful dress, or outfit, or shirt, or pants, or designer garment that rapidly came together from the varied fabric pieces she had made and cut out from her very own brown paper bag patterns. After consulting Mom and Granny Gauthier, I was very happy that they were willing to share their knowledge, secrets, and skill, which related to sewing. Mom helped me gather the tools. I needed sewing needles, pins, strong thread, carbon paper to make a transfer pattern from my magazine, an embroidery hoop to keep my fabric pieces taut while I sewed, and of course a selection of bright and colorful fabrics. Mom gave me permission to choose any fabric I wanted from her rag bag. I dumped the bag and found a beautiful old baby blue satin dress. I put that piece aside for use. This first bit of blue fabric gave me the inspiration to choose other similar pieces of cloth to complement it. To accompany the beautiful blue, I then chose other scraps of green, white, pink, gold, brown, red, yellow, and violet, all of which were made of silk, satin, or some other shiny, elegant fabric. The former garments from which these pieces came from were old dresses, scarves, blouses, slacks, coat linings, and even some pairs of ladies' underwear. Next, Mom showed me how to use carbon tracing paper to transfer the designs from the McCall's pages to bits of cardboard. Once I had my very own pattern pieces drawn and cut out. I then was able to use these cardboard patterns and a trusty pencil to trace out the shapes and pieces I needed on the varied bits of selected fabric. Having everything clearly and sharply traced made it very easy to cut out all of the fabric pieces that I needed to assemble for each of the 12 days of Christmas for my banner. My dear mother was an excellent teacher that day because not one drop of blood was put upon these pretty pieces of silk or satin from any cuts or pricks to my tiny fingers. Now came the hard part. I needed to actually learn how to sew. For this task, it was my granny that I turned to, and it was she who became my teacher. I soon learned that sewing was not just sewing, but it also included unraveling thread and threading needles. According to Granny, my young eyes were perfect for treading needles, and from that day forward she deputized me as her official needle threader. The job started by placing and pinning the cutouts into their proper place. This needed to be done with care to ensure that the selected pieces did indeed make up one of the scenes of the 12 Days of Christmas. Would it not be funny if the 10 maids a milking were milking geese instead of cows? Each little piece got carefully secured to the bigger affixed piece of fabric that was now tightly held in Mom's large embroidery hoop. Now came the needle and thread part. A long piece of thread was cut from its spool. One of its ends was carefully threaded through the head of the needle. The thread then got pulled through the needle, stretching it tight, ensuring that both of its ends eventually met together. Granny then instructed that we needed to tie a tight baby knot at the ends by looping the tiny thread ends around my finger and pulling them back through the loop. I struggled, but after Granny demonstrated the technique a few more times, I finally got it. Stitching the pieces of fabric firmly to the background cloth was the next task to be mastered. From underneath, Granny pushed the needle through the background textile and then pulled it all the way through to a point where the tiny knot caught in the fabric. She then plunged the needle back through the fabric in the opposite direction, but this time taking caution to ensure she had caught the cutout fabric piece she was now stitching into place. She then looked up and smiled at me as she said, "So, Ricky, do you understand how to do it?" I responded, "Yes, Granny, may I try?" She chuckled, "You most certainly can try, child, because you will have about 6,000 more stitches to make." She finished her sentence with one of her "oh good golly" laughs. I thanked Granny for her help and started stitching away, a little bit every day, until I had completed the panels for each of the 12 days of Christmas. Now you may ask, was my stitching as beautifully done as my grandmother's? No, of course not, I would reply to you. My grandmother was a veteran at the craft and kept her work neat and tight. Mine at times admittedly was a bit sloppier. Well, I did the best I could as a 10-year-old child. You see, my focus was not always on my handiwork, but sometimes drifted away to Santa, gifts, and eating some of the Christmas cookies and squares that my mom had been baking. A few missed stitches really should not matter that much, right? All 12 panels for my banner were now complete, pressed flat, and cut so that they formed equal, well, nearly equal squares. With my mother's help and the magic of her big electric sewing machine, we patched the frames together into 2 rows. After that, the 2 rows were sewn together with a tight, neat seam up the middle. Mom then used some of the same beautiful blue satin fabric and framed my banner by stitching an attractive blue border all around it. Mother expertly designed a loop at the top in which she slid a thin dowel stick and a strong piece of string that she had saved from an old hanging calendar. After one more final pressing, and my mother directing me to go put away the iron and ironing board, Mom excitedly asked me as to where was I going to hang it up. I quickly decided that it should hang at the bottom of the staircase so that I could see it each morning when I descended the stairs during the Christmas season. This Christmas banner depicting the 12 days of Christmas adorned our stairwell each year for as long as I lived with my family in Otter Lake, Quebec. It was stored away each year with the other Christmas decorations, which allowed it to remain in very good shape. When I moved away from home, my mother returned this banner to me one year wrapped up as one of my very special Christmas gifts from her. Each year since, it has been joyfully hung in any place I called home from early December to the Epiphany celebrations of Little Christmas. Each season it is brought out of my storage locker, ironed and hung up. Each Christmas time I look upon it and I say, "Thank you, Granny, thank you, Mom, Merry Christmas, everyone."
On the 9th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 10th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing, 8 maids a milking, 7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings, 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 11th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me.
I sent 11 pipers piping,
10 lords a leaping, 9 ladies dancing,
8 maids a milking,
7 swans a swimming, 6 geese a laying, 5 golden rings,
4 calling birds,
3 French hens,
2 turtle doves,
and a partridge in a pear tree. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love sent to me 12 drummers drumming, 11 pipers piping, 10 lords a leaping,
9 ladies dancing,
8 maids a milking,
7 swans a swimming,
6 geese a laying,
5 gold rings,
5 golden rings,
4 calling birds,
3 French hens,
2 turtle doves,
and a partridge in a pear tree, and